Marjorie Taylor Greene is escalating her war against Trump, which is always fun to keep up with. And it comes in the form of a defense that she's bringing to Thomas Massie's side. And so let me read you the attack that Trump sent out. Very angry at Thomas Massie. This all started with Massie calling for the release of the Epstein files. And then we'll look at Massie's response. Then we'll look at Marge's response. So Trump posted on Truth Social, people are saying that Thomas Massie became a liberal, not true, because his new wife, blessed be their marriage, is supposedly a radical left flamethrower. This new union all went so fast that maybe he didn't know what he was getting into, but nevertheless, he is an absolutely terrible and unreliable Republican, perhaps a rhino, or maybe even worse. Ed Galrine, a farmer and war hero, is running against Massie. He is a high-quality individual, and there's no candidate for Congress that could be better. He's running because he realizes Thomas Massie has been totally disloyal to the President of the United States and the Republican Party. He never votes for us. He always goes with Democrats. Thomas Massie is a complete and total disaster. We must make sure he loses big. So Massie does vote with Republicans overwhelmingly. The stat he used, I think, was 90%, but the other 10% is forcing the release of the Epstein files, was the way that he worded it. So Trump's angry, endorsing Thomas Massie, who was a loyal Republican, but then was like, hey, maybe we don't protect a bunch of pedophiles, eh? And that pissed Trump off. So then Massie responds, so now he's attacking my wife who voted for him 3 times. Maybe someone told him she's actually the one who suggested I ask Pam Bondi in person at a dinner when we would get phase 2 of the Epstein files. Bondi said there were no more files. As they say, the rest is history. So maybe that's true. That's kind of crazy if it is that his new wife is the reason that he really got motivated to go confront Pam Bondi. And then being reminded of that, it's always crazy. The whole, they released phase 1, the binders, and they call it phase 1, and then they say there's no phase 2. It's like, no, that's not ever how anyone, that's like when someone goes, listen, there's just so many things going wrong today. First, our tacos got here late, etc. You know, it's like, we're going to release so many phases at phase 1. Etc. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene jumps in to defend Thomas Massie. Just the quickest break from the video to request that you click the subscribe button. As you know, that's an important way to boost the message that we deliver to a larger audience, which is very important. Helps us out, but it's completely free on your end. Just by clicking that subscribe button, you help support our work. President Trump treats those who support him the most like crap. Thomas's wife voted for him 3 times. She's not a radical left flamethrower. And Thomas Massie votes with the president 91% of the time, but won't vote to protect Epstein's sick pedophile and rapist friends or send America's hard-earned tax dollars to Israel's wars or any other foreign country. The president should be more concerned with voters who put him in office, like Thomas Massie's wife, not super rich donors and their favorite foreign countries and business demands. Losing elections to Democrats in super red districts like Texas Senate, where Trump endorsed, should be sending warning alarms across the president's desk. But instead, he's attacking Republican Thomas Massie with one of the most conservative voting records in the House, and his new wife with a 3-time MAGA voting record. And all the weak Republicans in the House stay silent, refusing to utter even a word of support for their friend, Thomas Massie. Shame on every one of you. Cowards. You make me sick. So, was it Marjorie who did the... No, she didn't do the rhino hunting. Someone else did the rhino hunting. But all I have to say is I do agree that Trump's not attacking Thomas Massie for substantive policy reasons. He's attacking Thomas Massie for the Epstein reason and for feeling like he wasn't loyal enough, which is not how a government's supposed to work. A whole party's not supposed to be loyal to one person. They're supposed to also be loyal to their constituents and to what is right. But I do always feel the need to note when we talk about these Marjorie calling Trump out segments that she helped cultivate this. She helped create this environment where one violation of Trump's loyalty meant you're a rhino. She would call any Republican who wasn't pro-Trump enough a rhino. She used to judge people's support based on how supportive of Trump they were. So I do want to note that, but it's good to see both of them feuding with Trump. And then I'd just be curious Every time we talk about Marjorie and her new awakening that she's not actually loyal to Trump anymore, I'm curious if does that open her eyes to everything else about Trump that's damning and damaging. Like, she was most famous for trying to get to the bottom of the Hunter Biden corruption, right? All the way to the point where she got all of the printer ink in all of DC to redact the genitals of Hunter Biden on a poster, right? And there was an ink shortage for that job of redacting his penis. It was huge, was the joke, if you missed it. So she had the poster and she showed it. Why'd she show it? All to expose Hunter Biden's corruption. There it is. This is an unedited poster that Marjorie showed. This is life size. No. Okay, so she acted like she cared about the corruption of families, even if she lied a bunch about the Bidens who were in the White House. Now we just had this reporting that confirmed what we believed about this UAE corruption with Trump. And I'm curious if people like her are starting to wake up because the Epstein thing would question if they've been ignoring the most corrupt guy in politics being Trump. Here was a Trump supporter trying to defend this on CNN against Abby Phillip.
They did a deal with the UAE, and then months later, they did a massive deal with the UAE. Then months later, the president allows the UAE to have access to sensitive chips that previous administrations would not allow them access to because of national security concerns. That doesn't bother you even a little bit?
If there was some proof that there was a quid pro quo done, yes. Right
so
now
you
have
need
innuendo.
Proof for a quid pro quo?
I'd like to have
even though innuendo was enough for House Republicans to launch investigations into
this is true, but
Hunter Biden and President
the president's children do not have to disclose anything. That said, you can go on their Twitter feeds, you can go on their Instagrams, you can see that they've been engaged in the crypto market and the AI space for almost a decade. They're doing deals in the Mideast. We know that. No. It's not the biggest secret in the world.
Let me just play what Republicans have been saying about the Biden family for all these many years. Listen.
This committee is investigating President Biden and his family's shady business deals that capitalize on Joe Biden's public office and risked our country's national security.
They have found over $10 million from China, Russia, Ukraine, and Romania funneled through the corrupt influence peddling schemes to line the pockets of the Biden crime family.
Millions of dollars from foreign entities flow through 20 different companies to benefit the Bidens. And what were they selling? What were they offering? Access to the brand, and the brand was Joe Biden.
So just to close the circle here, Joe, Jim Jordan, Elise Stefanik, James Comer, all wrong, correct?
No, actually, the president pardoned his own son for crimes.
No.
Not even named.
They're wrong for delving into the private business dealings of the president's family member and then making innuendo about what the president did or not.
They were onto something because the president on his way out pardoned his own family for crimes.
So they were onto something when it comes to Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, but they're not. But there's no basis for there to be questions about what President Trump and his family.
You might be right, but I know the President Biden.
So you realize that that's completely inconsistent,
on the way out
right?
for crimes that they actually
Joe, you
committed.
realize that that's inconsistent.
You call it consistent, but I'm just telling you, the last president pardoned his own family for crimes that they did.
It's inconsistent.
So in debate settings, you can tell who's being more honest or less honest sometimes by who just keeps repeating the same thing over and over and who can change the wording of their statement to try to deliver a better understood message. So like Abby Phillip kept going, wait, but let me word it this way. Okay, let me add more content. And then he just goes, pardon. Hunter's Biden. And do we have that soundbite? No, what? So he clearly doesn't think he can defend this. Like you remember I went on the bar fight with Michael Knowles, brought up the same issue. Oh, if we could get that clip. It's a short form clip, probably on our Instagram, of me confronting Michael Knowles over the UAE deal. If you could send that in our group chat, hopefully I can pull it up by the end of the show. Because you'll see, even Knowles, who I'll credit him, he was pretty good at, with love, slipping around and trying to avoid answering certain questions that I was bringing up. Even he did the same talking point repetition that you saw Joe Borelli do there, which is just kind of, well, he says he is an international businessman. Wait, why is he trading favors, benefiting his own businesses, making a bunch of money, and then giving advantageous benefits to the entities that did that for him? He is an international businessman. Just same thing over, which proves they know. Whereas when I would debate about Biden-related things, Biden business dealings, they would go, well, what about this thing? Like, imagine if, do you remember whenever they would bring up the former top prosecutor Victor Shokin? I would say, well, Biden pushed for the firing of Victor Shokin, and Hunter Biden wanted that. I wouldn't go, Biden is completely legitimate. And then they would go, no, what about Victor Shokin? I go, Biden is completely legitimate. That wouldn't be how I would argue it, because I would go, oh, I know what you're talking about. And actually, that was in line with the international community's ambition for that corrupt prosecutor. And we have reason to believe executives where Hunter was working kind of wanted Victor Shokin to stay in place. So this would have been a contradiction to the point that you're, arguing, not substantiating it, right? You actually can dive into the details. If they could dispute this, they'd be able to say, no, actually, the UAE, I don't even know how you justify it all, even if there wasn't a quid pro quo, foreign governments funneling money to the president, because there's already an assumed conflict of interest there. But definitely when right after, then the government does something with this advanced technology to benefit the very government that the person was representing that invests in your company. Insane. So here was an example, I think, of me debating on the same subject. Let's see. Let's just see here.
Republicans are worse for the economy, then how come Nancy Pelosi's tracker is doing so much better than the Republican one? By almost 3 to 6%.
Because Democrats are better at the economy. That's why.
No, because I think that
they're better.
Is insider trading better for the economy?
No,
insider trading corrupt information?
Yeah, so insider trading is horrible. I think Nancy Pelosi shouldn't be able to do that. I think every member of Congress shouldn't be able to do that, obviously. Okay, wait. Democrats have been fighting for that a heck of a lot longer than Republicans have. And the reason I don't like it is because it could lead to corruption, which is also why I don't like Trump's meme coin, his AI chips deal.
Okay.
With the UAE, and his open brazen corruption with funneling money to. So it's the same reason I don't like the Pelosi stuff or anyone else using their insider information. I think it should be banned. I don't think Trump would ever sign that into law. I don't think Trump should be profiting off of his presidency either.
But with Trump, it's not to say that there aren't questions, about, he obviously he's an international businessman. He has the crypto thing. He has all that. I'm just saying.
You're against it, though. You can't be against it for Pelosi and then for Trump.
No, I guess I think what Pelosi is doing is illegal for every American other than members of Congress.
Right.
And what Trump is doing is really not illegal in any way.
What?
So you might say you don't like it. You might say we should pass laws against it.
No, there's plenty of laws.
Isn't it also true that Trump is the only president to take a pay cut in office?
No,
so why?
that's not true.
He's making a salary right now.
His net worth
I'm just an art major, dude. I don't know.
His net worth has increased by billions just since he got in office. So, I mean, just be consistent. I've been very consistent. No. Be consistent.
I am.
You are obvious. If you did one story about Hunter Biden, you better be 100 times as outraged at Trump getting the UAE to invest billions, make his World Liberty Financial billions in a business deal, and then immediately, all of a sudden, he releases the restrictions on the AI chips that they really wanted, and which could then get into China's hands because he was enriched. Same thing with the Binance guy. He ends up pardoning the guy after Binance makes a bunch of money for World Liberty Financial. That's brazen corruption, right?
Yeah, I guess my point is on some of these. No, I don't. No. On a lot of these financial dealings of Trump, a lot of it occurred during the interregnum. The crypto thing occurred before he was brought in.
No, not the UAE deal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you brought up crypto earlier, which is usually the one that most people point to.
I'm saying, how could you justify someone giving benefits to either people through pardons or countries through restriction relief after that country or that person enriches his family to the tune of billions.
Yeah, I think that President Trump has done a very good job being an international businessman, leveraging relationships for the good of the United States. I think that's true. And what I also think.
Wait, were you ever mad about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden?
Yeah, I was mad that the Biden family sold American influence and fired a Ukrainian official in order to enrich his son. Yeah.
You never found evidence linking him to Hunter, but even so,
you never found evidence. The money went straight to his house.
That's not true.
It did. It wrote the speech.
A reimbursement of a loan. But after all of y'all made of that, a whole big scandal, and then Trump takes all over, and there's no ambiguity. And his sons are going around the world making a bunch of money for his family, and then he's trading favors.
Yeah, listen, he has a very successful business, and his sons are businessmen.
So that's I guess back everything about Hunter?
Certainly not. That was brazen corruption.
Why? What's the difference?
This is the
difference?
Here's the difference. Here's the difference. Eric and Donald Trump Jr.
Someone in the crowd, I'd love to hear you explain that. You're so loud and proud. You don't know what you're talking about.
Here's the difference. Eric and Donald Trump Jr. have very long-standing business careers long before Donald Trump entered office.
They don't have specific deals with people who need something from the government. They have new deals.
He doesn't want me to answer the question. He doesn't want me to answer the question.
You know what I'm talking about. Trump, you know what?
I can tell you the difference if you want.
You know what Trump's doing? He doesn't need big tech to censor or whatever. He's censoring the media himself.
So you saw, I actually forgot how bad it was. How many times he goes, well, yeah, so international businessman. Well, yeah, he does international business. Well, sons, respond to what I'm saying. And then he says, well, no, that was brazen corruption because they were selling out American influence. What the freak do you call getting someone or a company to give you money and then giving them a pardon or an American government policy change that benefits them? What do you call that? It's nothing like. It's so... All they got on the Bidens was that Biden had a son who was going, I'm Hunter, guess my last name, Biden. You probably want to hire me because I'm a Biden. Yeah, and then that's it. That's what they got. That's what they got. If it was just Eric Trump and Don Jr. Trump being like, hey, my name's Trump. And then they get hired and like, yeah, they probably wouldn't have gotten that job. But yeah, people with famous names usually get better jobs. And then Trump never did anything to benefit them. That would be a whole different thing. This is Trump just getting money and his family, but also him directly. And then doing things that benefit the people who gave him the money to the tune of billions. Didn't he give up his paycheck? What, his $400K a year paycheck for billions? Yeah, he did. Good job. Wow. And I don't even know if he did. There was one year, I think there was 2 years, when he said he was giving up his paycheck and he didn't because he's so obsessed with money. He wouldn't even give that much money up.